If your money feels like it's on a slow diet, you're not imagining it. Today, we'll unpack why prices rise, why money seems to shrink, and one simple habit that helps you keep your purchasing power. Hey, it's Sketch Figures. Finance sketch simply. If you like clear money talk with zero jargon, tap like and subscribe. Stick around for a bonus insight at the end that'll make inflation headlines way less confusing. Inflation isn't one price going up. It's the average price of lots of things rising across the economy: groceries, rent, transport, haircuts. That's how central banks define it, a general increase in the overall price level. To track that average, statisticians build a huge shopping cart called a Consumer Price Index, CPI. They list hundreds of items, give each a weight based on how much households spend on it, and check prices regularly. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, describes CPI exactly this way. The UK's ONS does likewise for CPI or CPIH. CPIH includes owner-occupiers' housing costs. If last year the basket cost 100 and this year it costs 103, annual inflation is approximately 3%. Some measures drop volatile bits to see the underlying trend, like the core PCE price index. PCE is another broad U.S. price measure. People's personal baskets differ, so your lived inflation can be higher or lower than official inflation. Countries also use different indices: CPI, CPIH, PCE. And the basket changes over time as our shopping habits change. Example, the ONS adds or removes basket items yearly. Yes, VR headsets made the list. Inflation equals a broad, weighted average of prices rising over time, not just your favorite snack getting pricey. Imagine a stadium with 30,000 seats and 60,000 fans. If everyone rushes the gate with cash, ticket prices jump. That's inflation pressure. Economists bundle causes into 3 buckets. Demand pull. Too much spending, chasing too few goods. Think strong wages, savings, or big fiscal stimulus. Cost push. Higher input costs, energy, shipping, wages, get passed into final prices. Expectations. If people expect prices to keep rising, they ask for raises or bring purchases forward, which can reinforce inflation. Central banks mainly use interest rates as the brake/accelerator to line up total spending with the economy's capacity. Pandemic-era price spikes were a perfect storm. Supply chain bottlenecks ignited prices in 2020. Broad demand kicked in during 2021 to 2022. Energy shocks added fuel. New York Fed research traces that sequence across major economies. Not all inflation is fixable with rate hikes. When a shock is mostly supply, e.g., energy or logistics, policy faces trade-offs. Push too hard on rates, and you also hit jobs output. BIS work highlights these supply shock trade-offs. Prices rise because demand runs hot, costs jump or expectations drift, and interest rates are the main tool to cool things down. My cereal box got smaller. That's shrinkflation, less product for the same price. Statisticians do track quantity and quality changes. The BLS explains how it adjusts for quality, including hedonic methods for things like electronics, and monitors package sizes. In the UK, CPIH methodology and regular updates maintain a representative basket. A 2025 report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office, GAO, looked at 2019 to 2024 data and found downsizing contributed less than 1/10 of a percentage point to the 34.5% overall CPI increase. Tiny in the aggregate, though it stings in specific categories. The ONS has similar analyses showing shrinkflation exists but isn't a dominant driver of overall inflation. The CPI isn't perfect. Substitution, people switching brands or sizes, quality changes, and new product effects are hard to capture. That's why agencies also publish chained CPI, addresses substitution bias, and tweak methods over time. The aim isn't to make inflation look low, but to measure like-for-like price change. Shrinkflation is real and recorded. Methodological tweaks are about accuracy. not hiding inflation. If this is clicking, hit like and subscribe. It helps more people learn the effects of shrinkflation. After years of calm, 2021 to 2023 brought the fastest price rises in a generation across many countries. Supply chains tangled. You might have met the phrase global supply chain pressure index. Energy got expensive after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and demand was strong. As supply healed and central banks raised rates, inflation began easing unevenly across regions. New York Fed staff linked the early surge to supply bottlenecks, then to demand shocks, with energy spikes amplifying the move. ECB work quantifies gas price pass-through to consumer prices in the euro area. Countries are on different timelines. Services inflation has been sticky in some places. Policy lags are real. The IMF's October 2025 World Economic Outlook projects global inflation continuing to decline overall, but with cross-country differences, e.g., still above target in some advanced economies. Translation: progress, not perfection. The spike was a shock cocktail. The come down is policy plus healing supply. Expect bumps, not a straight line. What really matters is buying power. A bigger number in your bank app doesn't help if each pound or dollar buys less. Here's the simple rule. Your after-inflation return approximately equals your interest rate minus inflation. Economists call the before-inflation number nominal and the after-inflation number real, but you don't need the labels, just do the subtraction. The Federal Reserve puts it plainly. The after-inflation rate equals the before-inflation rate minus expected inflation. Your savings pays 4%. Prices rise 5%. Your buying power fell about 1% over the year. Two friends get 3% raises while prices rise 5%. They're each roughly 2% worse off in buying power even though their pay rose. People with fixed payments, like a fixed-rate mortgage, can find it easier to repay in a high-inflation year if their wages rise too. Savers holding low-return cash tend to lose buying power if rates trail price rises. Taxes and future inflation can change the picture, so this is a rule of thumb, not a crystal ball. Psychologists found we often stare at the number we can see, the pay rise, the interest rate, and forget the background rise in prices. This is called money illusion. The Swedish central bank has written about how this trips people up. Don't let it. Always do the subtraction. Don't judge by the sticker number. Judge by what your money still buys. Many countries aim for inflation of around 2% per year, low and stable. That's high enough to avoid the trouble of falling prices, which can cause job cuts, but low enough that life is predictable. The Bank of England explains this target in plain English. Central banks move interest rates up or down to cool or warm demand. Higher rates make borrowing pricier and encourage saving, which slows price rises. Lower rates do the opposite. Do an after-inflation check. Anytime you see a pay rise or a savings rate, subtract inflation. If what's left is small or negative, you're losing buying power. Simple, quick, powerful. That formula again, after inflation equals rate minus inflation. Look up government bonds that rise with prices. In the US, these are TIPS. In the UK, index-linked gilts. They're designed so the amount you're owed steps up if prices rise. That doesn't make them risk-free or best for everyone, but they're worth knowing exist, especially for money you won't need soon. Read the official explainers from the US Treasury and the UK Debt Management Office to understand how they work. Think after inflation and match tools to time horizons. Learn the options before you choose. When the news says inflation fell, it usually means prices are still rising, just more slowly. Imagine walking up a staircase. Slowing down doesn't take you down a step. Inflation is the steady rise in many prices that quietly shrinks what your money can buy. Quick rewind. Prices jumped after supply tangles, energy spikes, and strong demand. Interest rates rose, and inflation is easing overall, though not everywhere at the same speed. Today, this means measure money the smart way. Always check your pay and savings after inflation. Know the tools. Learn about bonds that step up with prices, TIPS in the US, index-linked gilts in the UK. Expect bumps. Rate moves help, but supply shocks take time to heal. If this helped, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next Sketch Figures video. And if you haven't already, check out our last video on how the Dutch created the first ever stock exchange. This video is for education only and isn't financial advice.